Hi, welcome back to my channel and to another episode of Cooking for the Yum of It. Today I'm going to be preparing a paleoized, is that a word? Paleoized? A paleoized Scotch egg. This recipe was picked by one of my roommates from my new cookbook that I just bought called the Frugal Paleo Cookbook. I don't know if you can see it all there. Part of my New Year's resolution for 2022 was to not only get to the gym every day, but to try to follow as closely as possible the paleo diet. So most of the recipes that you're going to be seeing over the next year will be either from this book or from my other cookbooks, but that I have adapted to the paleo diet, meaning I've cut out certain ingredients or substituted other ingredients for those which are not paleo. So now that you know all about that, let's get started. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get the water to start boiling, and one moment here, we will be setting our oven to 375 before I do, always make sure there's nothing in the oven before you turn it on. Now here we have 24 ounces of ground sausage. You don't have to use sausage, you can also use ground beef, but I prefer the flavor you get with ground sausage. Now the first thing we're going to add is 2 tablespoons of pure, not imitation, but pure corn syrup. I found a good deal on some organic corn syrup at the grocery outlet, not too far from my apartment. That's 1. That's 2. Now, one of the things that makes it paleo is that I will not be using breadcrumbs, but instead ground walnuts. So those go in there. Bowl goes in the sink, and we mush maple syrup, walnuts, and sausage meat together. It feels so kind of funny. I'm not going to say, I can't think of the word, just it feels funny to just mush all this together. Okay, now excuse me while I wash the sausage meat off my hands. Now, again, as I said, since we won't be using breadcrumbs, but rather ground walnuts. I used some more walnuts to create the outer coating. Now let's take a look. Sorry about my arm. Now you can do this until you reach the consistency you like. That looks good to me. I'm gonna go with that. Now this goes back on until we're ready. Now I'm going to try to make the Scotch egg so that the yolk is slightly runny. Now that's a tricky thing. It's almost have to be almost psychic to get it right. The key is in the cooking time, and even if it does not slightly runny, it's still going to be a good Scotch egg. So let's skip ahead. Hi, still waiting for the water to boil. I'm not going to watch the pot because you know what they say about watching a pot of water when it's trying to boil. It never does. I thought I'd talk to you for a while. Interesting, I was surprised, I think, as any of you might be, to find out that maple syrup is actually on the paleo diet. I was fascinating, I thought. The only things that I'm not going to be eating for the next year, I've already given up Diet Pepsi, which is one of my favorites. I've given up candy, which the peanut M&Ms, oh, that is so sad to say goodbye to. But I've also given up milk, cheese and butter. I am using a small amount of some Parquet. I can't believe it's not butter spray, but once that's all gone, no more butter. I've been replacing it with ghee, which is a clarified butter, and also some coconut shortening, which didn't taste like coconut at all. I found you can't really taste anything at all, really, but it's good for frying things or sautéing. So those are the fats I'll be using. And I don't want to look at the pot because it might be boiling, but then it might not. It's sort of like Schrodinger's boiling pot of water. Back in a minute. Okay, the water is now boiling. I must admit I did glance at it from time to time. Let me get my eggs here. Very careful. This is a safety deal, not a required for the recipe deal. I have this thing about boiling the flesh off of my body. I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, so 6 eggs, which we will now be boiling for 6 minutes. Now while we're waiting for that, I thought I'd show you, I've already got my ice water to put the eggs in once they've done, I've finished with the boiling time. You do that, it makes it not only easier to peel, but it stops the egg from cooking immediately, and we don't want it to be too overcooked. Now, another step I'll be taking, get that out of the way, is getting the egg wash ready. So that ready. Once my eggs are ready, I'll be covering them with the sausage meat, dipping them in the egg here, and then coating them with the ground walnuts instead of breadcrumbs. Okay, that's good. Now let's just wait 6 minutes. Okay, it has now been 6 minutes, and we put the eggs into our ice water bath to stop the cooking process and to make them easier to peel. Now, I'm going to wait a few more minutes for the eggs to cool down. And in the meantime, I'm going to get everything in position to show you the next step. Now here we have the eggs, the sausage meat, the egg wash, and our finely ground walnuts. All in a nice little assembly line kind of deal. As we do each egg, it will be going into the pan. So give me a minute here. Okay, here's our first egg. And we take a glob of our sausage meat, pardon my arm, and we place the egg, making sure we're in camera range. Now, our next step is to lightly coat it in our egg wash, and then we roll it in our not breadcrumbs, but our ground walnuts, and then we move it over here. Get that into position there, into our casserole dish. So let me Get this into position here. And there we have it, 6 Scotch eggs ready to go into the oven at 375 for approximately 40 to 45 minutes. So that whoosh of cool air as it comes out of the oven. I mean hot air, warm air, whatever. Set my timer at actually I'm going to go for 40 and back in 40 minutes. Well, my Scotch eggs are done. As you can see, they some of them I don't know if you want to call it exploded, but some of them popped, I suppose you could say. But that's okay. I never claimed to be a 4-star chef, not even a 1-star chef. I'm just someone who likes to cook. So as soon as these cool down a bit, we'll put one on a plate, we'll slice into it, and we'll see how it came out taste-wise. Okay, now to see if it is this aside from the ones that sort of blew up, this is the only time you're ever really going to know if it was a success. It's when you open it up. Oh, okay, well, it didn't quite come out runny, but it still came out pretty good, I think. So now let's go take a taste. Okay, now I like Scotch eggs. I know some people think they're rather common, but I enjoy them. Used to be the only place in Sacramento that you could get them was at a restaurant called Streets, but I was there recently with a friend of mine from the SGMC, and they no longer sold them there, which I thought was rather... a little mustard here. Mmm. Mmm. Excuse me. Oh yeah, you can taste the maple, and it's a good taste. The walnuts give it a nice crunchiness, and the egg, that's egg. Well, there you have it, one paleo-compliant Scotch egg. I hope you enjoy making it yourself if you attempt it. Remember, if it doesn't look perfect, no one ever accused me of being a 4-star chef. No one will ever accuse you, unless of course you are a 4-star chef out there. I'm just someone who likes to cook and who likes to eat, obviously, if you've seen my recent photos on my Facebook page. But until then, have a nice evening, and have a great 2022, and as always, eat and enjoy.